Joe Mackenzie here, your watercolor coach. I'm calling this video the Blown Out Cat. Now the reason I'm calling it that is because this is taken from a photograph where it is unclear what is happening behind the cat. This can happen in a photograph. It's called when the edges are blown out. In other words, you can't see where one thing begins and where something else ends. There's sort of a fade out. There you can see it a little bit on the left-hand side where the front of the cat has some sun cast on it and the back of the cat goes into darkness. So what do you do when you have a problem like that? Well, sometimes I just decide not to use the photograph at all, but in this case I wanted to give it a go. So I do what I usually do. I'm massing for value, mixing for color, and I'm using ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, and burnt sienna. And I'm finding those dark value shapes. I'm plugging those in first. I've also put a few spots of orange, as you can see, on the ear, on the nose, on the light side of the back, because I needed a mid-tone to compare my darks to. All right, now we're going into the mid-tones. And this is cerulean blue, probably some sort of orange, and I think maybe a rose. Anyway, what I'm doing here is I could have painted this with a gray or a light brown, but what I always like to do is use at least 3 colors to fill in a mass, if possible. And what I do is I don't rub them, but I let them combine and join each other. All right, time for the background. Mass for value. All in the background is mostly dark. Mix for color, so I've got 3 colors that I'm putting in there. All right, so things are looking a little rough, but at least it's, as they call it, blocked in. I have a good idea of where things are now so that I can slow down and fine tune. I should have said there's no white out on this painting, and oh gosh, what else was I going to say? Oh, and that I'm leaving some of the whites of the paper white. So let's see what happens here. I can't remember. By now I've gone into sort of the painter side of my brain, and I'm not thinking anymore. Not in a linear fashion anyway. I'm all over. Not that I'm all over the place, but I sort of slip into that completely non-language place where all I'm concerned with is value, shapes, and making decisions based on darks and lights. All right, so around here, I brought out some gouache. Now, gouache is a opaque paint. It's water-based, and if I have lost whites where I absolutely need to get them back, I will use gouache. You can see I'm using them on the whiskers, a couple of highlights on the eyes, and on where the back foot appears. This can happen, and some watercolor societies don't let you use gouache. So you have to find out from the watercolor society you belong to whether that's okay or not. And here's the final piece. So remember, keep the whites of your paper white and your paints wet. Mass for value, mix for color. Come see me at joemackenzie.com and at my YouTube channel, Joe Mackenzie. And I will see you next time. Okay, bye-bye.